What happens when a family disagreement goes so far that brothers end up in a physical confrontation? For the Plaths, family drama has reached a shocking breaking point that fans never expected. At the absolute center of this unfolding storm is Ethan Plath, navigating what might be the most chaotic and isolated chapter of his entire life. Did a bitter dispute over family land push the Plath brothers over the edge? Is Ethan trapped in another brutal feud? Or are fans confusing wild social media theories with real-life heartbreak? Welcome back to Jenny Expose. If you want the truth behind reality television's most explosive family battles, hit that like button, subscribe to Jenny Expose right now, and turn on all notifications so you never miss another exclusive breakdown. To understand why the Plath family has reached this breaking point, we have to go back to the beginning of Ethan's latest chapter, because everything changed the moment his marriage completely dissolved. For years, Welcome to Plathville viewers watched Ethan and Olivia Plath struggle to build a life outside the suffocating boundaries of his upbringing. Their relationship was constantly caught in the crossfire between Olivia's desire for complete independence and Ethan's complicated loyalty to his roots. By late 2023, after endless emotional standoffs and public strain, they officially announced their separation, ending a relationship that had been crumbling behind closed doors for months. When the legal documents were finalized, their marriage of over 5 years came to a formal close with mutual waivers of spousal support and an agreed division of their assets. On paper, it was a clean legal break, but emotionally, Ethan walked away as a completely changed man. He had spent his early 20s alienating his own parents to stand by his wife, only to end up single, living on his own, and forced to face the family he had once kept at arm's length. Ethan entered this new phase of his life carrying the weight of a painful public divorce. Yet instead of returning to a peaceful home, he stepped directly into a family dynamic that was far more damaged than the one he had left behind. The truth is, the Plath family was already fractured long before Ethan signed his divorce papers. When the world first met Barry and Kim Plath on television, they presented an image of unbreakable traditional unity. In rural Georgia, they raised their children without television, without internet, and with strict rules designed to shield them from outside influence. Ethan was the very first child to push back against that rigid structure. His initial defiance, sparked largely by his romance with Olivia, shattered the illusion of parental control in the Plath household. The explosive arguments between Ethan, Kim, and Barry over basic personal boundaries became the emotional backbone of the series. For seasons, viewers watched Ethan cut ties with his mother, clash with his father, and struggle with the deep guilt of wanting a life of his own. As the years went on, Ethan was no longer the only one questioning the rules. One by one, the older Plath siblings began forging their own paths, forming their own opinions, and choosing sides. The united front that Barry and Kim spent decades building was quietly slipping away, leaving behind a group of young adults who were all searching for freedom while still craving their parents' approval. Just when fans thought the family dynamic could not become more complicated, the bedrock of the entire Plath family completely collapsed. Barry and Kim's own marriage fell apart. After more than 2 decades together and raising 9 children under the strictest moral standards, Kim Plath made the shocking decision to walk away. In June 2024, Kim officially filed for divorce from Barry, declaring in court documents that their marriage was irretrievably broken. The woman who had once dictated every rule in the household was now demanding a complete division of marital property, marital debts, and a formal custody arrangement for the minor children. This was not just an ordinary parental split. In a family where traditional marriage was treated as absolute and sacred, Kim and Barry's divorce sent shockwaves through every single one of their children. The parental authority that had once held the Plath dynasty together was officially gone. Barry was left navigating life as a single father, trying to reinvent himself, while Kim moved forward with a completely new lifestyle and a new romantic partner. When parents separate after decades, family assets and real estate inevitably become major battlegrounds. Kim's legal filings specifically requested the equitable division of all marital properties and debts. Suddenly, the land, the houses, and the financial foundation that the Plath children grew up around were subject to court proceedings, negotiations, and potential sales. In any family, dividing significant property during a bitter divorce creates massive emotional vulnerability. But inside the Plath family, where physical property has always been deeply intertwined with identity, authority, and childhood memories, it became a ticking time bomb. The stage was set for suspicion, resentment, and explosive rumors about who was trying to claim what before it was too late. And this is the exact moment where the online chatter around Ethan turned explosive. Over on TikTok and across reality TV forums, wild claims began circulating that Ethan was quietly trying to buy out family land behind his siblings' backs, triggering an all-out war between the brothers. Let us unpack the explosive rumors that have completely taken over social media feeds. Across TikTok, Reddit, and countless reality TV discussion boards, dramatic theories began spreading like wildfire. According to these viral claims, Ethan was allegedly trying to make a private deal with Barry to take control of a prime piece of the family's Georgia land. The internet narrative claimed that when the other siblings caught wind of the transaction, they felt completely blindsided and betrayed, insisting that any remaining family assets should be divided equally among all the children. Some viral videos even went so far as to allege that legal paperwork and emergency injunctions were being prepared behind the scenes to stop Ethan from closing the deal. Here at Jenny Expose, we have to separate internet sensation from verified reality. When you look beyond the social media speculation, there is no public court record, no property deed challenge, and no verified legal report proving that Ethan and his siblings are locked in a formal courtroom battle over family land. No emergency injunction has ever been filed in public records to stop Ethan. What we do know as absolute fact is that the Plath family has owned significant rural Georgia real estate for years, and Kim's divorce filing from Barry directly placed their entire asset portfolio onto the negotiating table. We also know that Ethan has dealt with the emotional and financial strain of real estate disputes in his own personal life, including navigating the sale of the home he once shared with Olivia. To an outsider, land is simply dirt, trees, and square footage. But for the Plath family, property represents something infinitely deeper. The sprawling acreage in Cairo, Georgia was the fortress where Barry and Kim built their private empire. It was the only world the children knew for the majority of their lives. That land represented absolute parental authority, their isolated childhood memories, and the physical barrier that kept modern society away. When a family built entirely around a shared physical property watches that foundation crumble through a bitter parental divorce, any conversation about land becomes deeply personal. It is no longer just about real estate values. It becomes an emotional tug-of-war over who gets to hold on to childhood memories, who controls the family narrative, and who has the right to decide the future. As the emotional pressure around the family continued to mount, the tension did not stay behind closed doors. It began exploding into direct, face-to-face confrontations. Ethan, who had spent years wrestling with feelings of betrayal and isolation, re-entered the family circle with zero patience for outside interference. In recent tense moments, viewers watched Ethan openly confront extended family members, most notably his sister Lydia's husband, Zach Wise. Ethan made it aggressively clear that he felt Zach was overstepping his bounds and interfering in the private Plath family business. What used to be a tight bond between Ethan and Lydia was suddenly strained by distrust and rigid boundaries. The conflict was no longer a simple issue between Ethan and his parents. The entire sibling circle was developing new alliances, drawn along the lines of new marriages, new partners, and radically different lifestyles. Every family gathering, holiday, and casual conversation felt like walking through an emotional minefield. And when emotions run that high for that long, it is only a matter of time before words stop being enough. That is when the internet exploded with claims that an argument within the Plath family had officially crossed the line from verbal hostility into outright physical violence. Rumors quickly circulated online, alleging that Ethan had been brutally punched and injured during a high-stakes standoff over the family property. Theorists on social media claimed that brothers had turned against each other in an uncontrollable rage over land rights. But this is the exact point where online gossip completely twisted the facts. There was, in fact, a shocking physical altercation within the Plath family, but it did not involve Ethan, and it had nothing to do with a property deed. The real, documented physical fight occurred between brothers Micah and Isaac Plath during an escalating period of hostility surrounding Micah's relationship with Veronica Peters. What began as intense verbal disagreements and boundary clashes over Veronica's place in the family suddenly erupted into an explosive physical confrontation. The clash between Micah and Isaac became so severe that Micah walked away with a heavily bloody nose that required urgent medical stitches. It was a staggering moment for the Plath family and for reality television viewers. It proved beyond any shadow of a doubt that the anger, resentment, and emotional stress inside this family had reached a truly dangerous boiling point. But internet creators took that real, bloody altercation between Micah and Isaac and combined it with unverified property rumors, creating a massive, sensationalized myth that Ethan had been beaten up over land. Even though Ethan was not the one nursing physical injuries from that specific brawl, the reality of the situation was just as devastating. The Plaths were no longer the peaceful, harmonious family audiences met years ago. Brotherly bonds were actively fracturing, physical fights were breaking out behind closed doors, and Ethan was standing squarely in the middle of a broken home where old loyalties were being destroyed day by day. This brings us to the biggest question at the heart of this entire saga. Why does Ethan Plath always seem to remain the ultimate lightning rod for family controversy? From the moment the television cameras first arrived in Cairo, Georgia, Ethan was the child who bore the heaviest emotional burden of challenging Kim and Barry's authority. His marriage to Olivia completely redefined his place in the family, forcing him to make impossible choices between his wife and his parents. When that marriage ended, Ethan did not simply return to the quiet life he once had. Instead, he found himself caught in the middle of a shifting dynamic where everyone expected him to fall back in line, yet he was no longer the obedient boy who lived on the farm. This raises a debate that has split reality TV viewers down the middle. Is Ethan actually the root cause of these ongoing family feuds, or is he simply the only Plath who is willing to say what everyone else is thinking? While other family members attempt to maintain an image of harmony for the cameras, Ethan has never been good at hiding his resentment. When he sees something he perceives as fake, controlling, or unfair, he confronts it directly, whether that means facing down his own parents or cutting off in-laws who overstep their boundaries. Making matters worse, Barry and Kim are completely powerless to step in and fix things. In the early seasons, Barry and Kim operated as an unbreakable parental unit that controlled every single aspect of their children's daily lives. But with their own marriage ending in an acrimonious divorce, that parental authority is gone forever. Kim and Barry are no longer on the same page. With Kim building a new life and navigating court battles over property division, debts, and custody, Barry has been left to manage relationships with adult children who no longer view him as an unquestioned authority figure. When the parents who built the family rules are actively fighting each other in divorce court, there is no one left at the top to hold the family together. Without that parental anchor, the Plath siblings have completely broken apart into competing camps. Lydia and her husband Zach hold tightly to their deeply religious and traditional worldview, which directly clashes with Ethan's blunt independence. Micah, who moved away to build a modeling career and live a modern lifestyle, has faced his own intense relationship battles, resulting in violent friction with younger brother Isaac. The brothers and sisters who once sang gospel songs together on a rural porch are now adults with completely incompatible values, competing romantic partners, and deep emotional scars. Naturally, the vacuum created by this family breakdown has fueled wild conspiracy theories across the internet. Social media creators frequently claim that the siblings have formed secret alliances to push Ethan out of the family circle and block him from inheriting or purchasing family land. But here at Jenny Expose, we know that suspicion is not the same thing as proof. Let us lay out the absolute facts of where the Plath family stands right now. Fact number 1. Ethan and Olivia's divorce is legally finalized, closing a 5-year chapter of intense public scrutiny. Fact number 2. Barry and Kim Plath have gone through their own bitter divorce proceedings, placing the family's Georgia real estate into a complex legal and financial division. Fact number 3. Serious, documented interpersonal confrontations have taken place among the siblings, including the shocking physical fight between Micah and Isaac that left Micah needing stitches. What remains entirely unverified by any public record, court filing, or credible report is the claim that Ethan tried to secretly purchase Barry's property, that his siblings filed an emergency injunction against him, or that Ethan was physically beaten during a secret real estate feud. The internet took several real, painful family crises and stitched them together into one massive, exaggerated conspiracy. Yet, even after separating the wild rumors from the truth, the reality of the Plath family breakdown is deeply compelling. Viewers are so emotionally invested in the Plaths because their story touches on a universal struggle: the painful battle between family loyalty and personal freedom. For years, audiences watched these children grow up in an isolated world, protected from modern society. Now, viewers are watching that fundamentalist fantasy unravels in real time. We are seeing adult children navigate the messy realities of divorce, betrayal, romantic conflict, and the realization that their childhood home will never be the same again. As we look ahead, the future of the Plath family remains completely uncertain. Will Ethan ever be able to rebuild a genuine bond with his brothers, or has too much damage been done? Can Barry and Kim find a way to co-parent peacefully, or will their financial and real estate divisions continue to spark tension among the kids? If future court documents or on-camera statements do reveal new property battles, the narrative could shift once again overnight. What began as a story about a picture-perfect, traditional family living peacefully on a Georgia farm has transformed into an emotional battlefield of broken marriages, shifting loyalties, physical fights, and fractured sibling bonds. The Plaths are no longer running from the outside world. They are running from the very conflicts brewing inside their own family. So, is Ethan Plath really the center of another major family war? Or has the internet turned several separate heartbreaks into one massive controversy? One thing is certain: the Plath family as we once knew them is gone forever, and the next confrontation could be the one that breaks them completely. What do you think about Ethan's current situation? Is he being unfairly blamed for the family's collapse, or is he creating the very drama he once tried to escape? Drop your thoughts and theories in the comments below. If you appreciated this deep dive, make sure to smash that like button, share this video with your fellow reality TV fans, and subscribe to Jenny Expose right now so you never miss another exclusive breakdown. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next exhibit.